Here's your globe proof then.
Well, to start with, are you going to let me finish? Or are you going to jump in? Ladies and gentlemen, my biggest, easiest globe proofs are pictures, videos, and live streams from the Earth far away. That's how you know a ball is a sphere, right? When you look at it, you don't have to measure the circumference of a basketball or a pool ball to know it's a sphere. You just look at it.
You're trembling in your voice, mate. You're trembling in your voice.
Oh, the ad hom is nuts. Jesus, one deck.
Hey, man,
we're not ad homing here. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Let me just ask the question. What did we put to you that the so-called images have been proven to be fake, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, and it's a begging the question fallacy anyway, that the idea that we can go to space to get the view of Earth, because we're measuring Earth flat and level, no curvature, and that's the curvature that would make the 3,959 mile radius. We're not able to measure that.
Ladies and gentlemen, how do you know that? I'm responding to him. He asked me. Yeah, he talked to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, how do you know that a basketball?
You don't want to talk to me now, do you? You don't like me, do you?
Again, how do you know? How do you know a basketball or a pool ball, ladies and gentlemen, is a sphere?
Your basketball, mate. Let's talk about Eratosthenes.
What are you saying? What are you saying, Dick?
Yeah, he has no clue.
The absolute ego to think that your terrestrial observation is what the nature of our actual place, place of existence is. Like the fact that you can't physically see it with your own five senses means that it must not exist. Insane amounts of ego.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. That's very true. Insane amounts of ego there, because we're on the surface of the Earth. Right, we're on the surface of the Earth. Hang on, we're on the surface of the Earth, ladies and gentlemen. But we're not to measure that. We've got to go to the stars and look up. When we're on the ground, we're not measuring curvature. We're using nautical miles, statute miles, and kilometers. And as I said earlier, these are linear, horizontal units of measurements. And as we apply that on the surface of the Earth, you're interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you. When we apply these measurements on the surface of the Earth over a given distance, we are finding the horizontal constant constantly in our face all over the place.
Yes, Jin.
Yes, 1 degree per 69 miles. It's 1 degree per 69
miles. A mile is a linear distance, and a degree is an angle measurement.
And
why don't you start talking about?
And ladies and gentlemen,
why don't you start talking about curvature? Can you not talk about? Can you not talk about curvature?
For some reason, they don't think they can measure a curved surface.
Wait a minute.
I can't believe we have to fucking do this again. Please stop over talking each other. It's
right. So give me some time then.
Can I ask a question?
I've noticed I'm the one getting interrupted most when I've got crucial points to make.
Andrew, can you mute the next person that interrupts like that? Because we'll see who it is.
I think Amphi was trying to.
So I'm just gonna give you an overview of the situation. Eratosthenes measured Earth flat, so did Alberuni. The guy only uses horizontal measurements when he's going up a hill, and he doesn't know who the first person was to measure a globe to confirm it was a globe. Well done, pal.
Okay, so Jin and ladies and gentlemen, Jin and
yes, I can do that because
perfect
it is not very logical for anyone to actually do that.
Okay, well, yeah, that was just a request. You don't follow what I say.
No, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I agree. That was wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jin and one deck cannot measure distances over curved surfaces. Like using an odometer, they do not think that it only measures horizontal distances. It can't measure over curves. So I don't know how else to say that.
Can I step in there? We got your point. Can I just have 30 seconds? Right. Yep. We're not really talking about measuring like a hill, right? We all know we can measure a hill, right? Jack and Jill went up the hill. We can measure a hill. What the discrepancy is that this gentleman who's just been speaking, don't know your name, sorry, mate, thinks he lives on a globe which has a radius of 3,959 and a circumference of 24,000 miles. What we're trying to get into put forth to us is who actually established that and how was it measured. Now he's already said he doesn't know, and then he's agreed that it's all horizontal linear distances and elevation angles are angles to straight lines. So from what we can gather at the moment is there's no curvature measurement been established or spoke about.
Okay, so let me respond. Let me respond because you made a bunch of straw man. No, we don't only measure horizontal distances. That's insane, and it's kind of weird. My question to you after I get done would be, how do you measure distances over hill if you can only measure horizontal distances? That would be my question. And then the second thing, he couldn't provide who was the first person to determine it was flat. And then thirdly, he has no measurements from one side of the Earth to the other to confirm there's zero overall elevation change. Thank you.
Right. So just to go back to that, you said I had no proof who measured the Earth flat. I did, and I mentioned that's when I brought Eratosthenes into it.